At the end of Melody of Memory, the question of how Xehanort had knowledge of unreality of this other world is brought up. When Mickey asks if there's anyone else they can ask about it since, well, Xehanort is dead now, Yensid mentions that during his time as a Keyblade Master, it was known that the Ancient Masters were able to cross into another world. So the question is, who are these Ancient Masters? Now, I'm sure many people believe it's the Foretellers, as currently they're the only Ancient Masters that we really know of. But in this video, I'm going to outline my reasons as to why I believe it's far more likely that it is actually the Union leaders. When assigning roles to the Foretellers, the Master of Masters gives Ava the task of gathering exceptional Keyblade wielders who are pure of light, to preserve the light for the future by taking them into another world. It is mentioned a number of times that the Dandelions are in another world, and that is literally how it's described. Not another realm, or another town, or another reality. It's described very specifically on a number of occasions as another world.
Then, like the seeds of a dandelion, let them fly to another world. They will keep the light alive.
Now, when the Dandelions crossed into this other world, they lost their memories of the Keyblade War, except for the Union leaders who still remember everything. So I'm going to jump straight to one of the obvious points. The Foretellers didn't know where the Master of Masters went, and they didn't know how to find him. If the Foretellers knew about unreality and could cross over to it, why would they be so confused about his whereabouts? Or why wouldn't they just go and get him from unreality and bring him back? Ava goes to find Luxu specifically because she doesn't know where the master is, and that leads to the two of them having a confrontation. Now, I'm not certain whether or not people know of the Foretellers other than Xehanort, but nobody ever mentions them. Xehanort seems to be the only person that's not from the time of Union who knows about the Foretellers. And we know this because he mentions them by the other title that they have, the Lost Masters, and he even knows about their Keyblade War, which I'm guessing is related to why he has memories of that very same Keyblade War, as well as other events from Union that nobody besides the Union leaders should even remember. Now, Xehanort does tell Ericus to drop the facade, as if he believes Ericus should also know about the Foretellers. Maybe Ericus does know. I mean, he is descended from Brain after all, so maybe he had knowledge about darkness as well as the truth about the previous Keyblade War passed down to him. Maybe not. To be honest, it doesn't entirely matter whether Ericus knows or not for this specific theory, because it still strongly suggests that the knowledge of the Lost Masters, aka the Foretellers, isn't something people would know about, hence why Ericus says he's never heard of them. Even if he's lying, the fact that he even can lie about it to Xehanort, that means it's something that they're not just being taught. Also, the last we saw of the Foretellers, they were in the Keyblade War, fighting in the Badlands. Nobody knows exactly what happened to them. The Union leaders don't seem to believe that the Foretellers are around anymore. They've certainly never said that the Foretellers went to another world, so who exactly would have passed down the idea that the Foretellers went to another world? But the truth, as far as the Union leaders know it, is that the Foretellers were in the war and the world ended. So I highly doubt they'd pass down a story that says the Foretellers crossed into another world, because there's literally no reason for any of them to believe that. Whereas we know for a fact the Union leaders did cross over into another world, and we know that at least one of them is going to have to be around to create Scarlet Adkylum and pass on the Master Defender, as well as their knowledge for the future wielders such as Yensid. So when Yensid refers to the Ancient Masters, it must be the Union leaders, as it being the Foretellers quite simply doesn't quite add up. And as I already said, the Union leaders are known for a fact to have gone to another world. That being said then, where did the Foretellers go? And how did they appear in Kingdom Hearts 3's epilogue? Well, we know they were summoned by Luxu, but summoned from where? If I had to take a guess, I would imagine it was from the Keyblade War. I think it's interesting that when the Unions assemble for the Keyblade War, Ava is in the middle, whereas the other Union leaders enter from different directions. In the epilogue, the Foretellers approach from different directions as well, just like in Union, but instead of Ava being in the middle, it's Luxu. I reckon the black box has something to do with how Luxu was able to summon the Foretellers, and I'm leaning towards the idea that he summoned them from the Keyblade War, pulling them out of it. Kinda similar to like how the player was pulled out of it by Ephema and Scold. So basically, to summarize, I don't believe that Yensid is referring to the Foretellers. I mean, he doesn't seem to know about the Foretellers. Nobody ever mentions the Foretellers, and as I said, the only people who are known to have literally gone to another world is the Union leaders. Whichever Union leaders survive and go on to build Scarlet at Kylum, those leaders would be masters by the time Yen Sid is around. They'd be ancient masters, in fact, by the time Yen Sid is around. So it makes sense for him to refer to them as the ancient masters, because from his perspective, that's what they are. I know that for us, as we're watching Union, they're kids, but you have to bear in mind that Union is set in the distant past. Even though we don't know exactly how long ago it was, we know that it was long ago, that the Keyblade War is considered to be an ancient Keyblade War. So I guess it would make sense then that the Union leaders could also be considered ancient masters. And so I'm pretty confident that that is who it is that Yen Sid is referring to. So that's all I've got to say on this particular matter. This was a pretty short theory video, nothing too crazy. I wanted to give a little light theory video as my last theory video of the year. I do have one more Kingdom Hearts video I have planned for the year, but it's not going to be a theory video, it's just going to be a simple opinion piece. But you guys can look forward to that. That should be out tomorrow, if not then the day after, but certainly before the new year. Anyway, I appreciate you guys listening for this long. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment sharing your thoughts on what I've stated in this video, on this theory. Do you believe that the Ancient Masters is referring to the Union leaders, or are you of the belief that it is indeed the Foretellers? Obviously, I've told you guys what I think, but let me know what your thoughts are. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content similar to this, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. My name has been NextGenNovelist, and that's all I've got to say, and I'm out. Peace.